Alright, this is the second video because the feed cut, it's the museum technology again. You gotta love it, but since I thought about it once I set it up again, let you know, all you guys know, that I'm deliberately placing the camera upside down. Okay, it's not that I don't know what I'm doing. And if you haven't read the descriptions yet, and this video will explain, and I should have explained it every video I've done, but try to focus on what's more important. For all you cynics out there and you want to try to take the attention off of the real matter, is that this is the focus. Alright, if you want to focus on what I'm wearing, what I look like, and what I'm doing instead of the message, this is for those who care about the message. A little bit of an entertainment. This is the little bells and whistles we must have, because somebody's just going to put it on a radio broadcast and you ain't going to get as much viewers unless you make a culture in decline video like Peter Joseph, and then suddenly that's where everybody wants to go. They want to watch that. Hopefully this satisfies. So, like I was saying about the plantation piers, publicly donated private property, it's publicly funded because the rich ain't rich unless the poor is poor. But the poor has to do all the back-breaking work for the rich, right? The rich ain't going to get out there and do it. They ain't going to get their hands dirty. They want you to do it. And they want to pay you for a lot less than what you deserve to be paid. But they also want to earn a hell of a lot more than what they're worth. But they're in power. They're in control. They deserve everything they earn. They work hard for a living. They work all their life to have their property. It's difficult. It's tough being rich. It's tough. But I also use the word quarantine. If you're quarantined in your cell block, in your captivity, and in your zone, your socioeconomic neighborhood, the upper working class to lower middle class, it's a quarantine. You make sure you don't spread your disease to neighboring areas. And of course, if you're in a higher class neighborhood, they don't want your filth in their backyard. They want you to stay away from them. And we still believe that those poor are afflicted with what are contagious. We don't need that stuff. I don't need very much to be satisfied. I don't need very much. Surprised that everybody else doesn't need something. They don't need a lot. It's just you personally. Personally, you don't need very much. You don't need very much. Yeah, so does everybody else. They don't need very much either. Bandwagon, huh? It's all about fitting in, making sure you don't stand out. It's all about, I don't need very much. Yeah, you heard the same shit from your mother, your father, your grandfather, and so on and so on, your friends. Yeah, they say the same stuff, and what do? You say you're deviate? You're different? No, you're the exact same. But you don't need very much. Tell your boss. Tell the rich. Go to neighborhoods and tell them, you don't need very much. Where's the protesters going to say, you don't need all this money? You don't need all this wealth? No, that's called the Occupy movement. That's what they did. They talk about income disparity, income inequity. Well, we all know that. Well, what can we do to make sure we take it? Make sure we don't give it to them, not take it from them. Make sure they don't get any more of our hard labor and our sacrifice. Happy Veterans Day again. Let's see what else I have right now. Yeah. Remember this dollhouse that you live? This is the only place you can loiter. You can't loiter over there at the supermarket without buying something. If you're not behaving with a for-profit motive, then you need to get the hell out, because you're just getting in the way of other people trying to for-profit pleasure themselves. Yeah, and notice how we can't deviate too much from our dollhouse, from our little crib. It's called a crib for a reason, right? It's because we have separation anxiety. It's our little comfort, security blankie. What else is our blankie? Number 2, the Detention education. If you can't tell right there, that's a book. What a publication is. What I have right here is, like I said, housebreaking. If you're housebroken, you went to school, you had parents or guardians. Boarding brochure broadcasting. Boarding brochure. You know what a boarding school is. You know what a boarding house. Now, if you're rich, look it up. Boarding school. They're teaching you how to stay rich, teaching you how to stay away from the poor, and make sure you exploit the hell out of them. Boarding brochure. It's a brochure. You know what a brochure is. You get a brochure. It's advertising. Advertising. Oh, you go to school. What are they advertising? For-profit pleasure. Make sure you get out there and for-profit obey your capitalist keeper. They've got control of you. make sure you bow down. Cur Tseed, genuflect. Do the Texas dip genuflection. Do all of those bowing and curtsies for them, because that's the conduct they will reward for your obedience. They got to teach you that at preschool, elementary, high school, like I mentioned last videos. I also call it elementary high school. You're preparing for junior high, elementary high school. No, it's just elementary. Elementary, my dear. Yeah, as far as junior high, it's got to be a public junior high. You can't have a private junior high. If you do, you're an aristocrat, and you can't be an aristocrat. You got to be poor like everybody else. But you got to be a big shot in the pool of small fish, right? You can't be a big shot at the private schools. You can't go over there and tell them how idiotic and have a rivalry with them. You got to have a rivalry with your comfort folk, your neighbors who you're not threatened by. Sharing is no longer caring. I mean, when you're a kid, you had to share, but when you get older, no, this is mine. I worked hard for it. This is mine. I worked hard for it. You can't borrow it. You need to go and work and pay for it yourself. You need to get out there and get a job. Whatever happened to sharing is caring. You can't share anymore. They teach you that. This is grave and vital information that I'm giving you. Grave and vital. You need to know this information. But like I said, this publication, all it is a narrative. It's not history. You get history books, you're not getting history. You're getting the for-profit side of the publication. The publication's in favor of the for-profiteers. Those who are in power, they want you to get the information that's conducive for their control. Remember what you work for. You work hard for your money. This is the time that you work for. I gotta teach you this. This is the money you work for. Don't let anybody get away with it. Get away with taking it from you. This is you worked hard for. This belongs to you. Nobody should take it from you, right? Unless it's Uncle Sam. Unless it's J.P. Morgan's Uncle Sam. See, that's okay. Tax. Oh, well, tax, that's the cost of freedom. You got to pay for it. Yeah, but the rich sure as hell doesn't have to pay for it, right? They somehow are exempt. They somehow don't have to pay for it. Why? So, for-profit plowing. What else I got written down here? Whenever you go to your for-profiteer person, make sure you're giddy, you're bashful, and you're trembling with excitement and fear. Because, you know where you're, who's the hand that feeds you, right? Just like a dog. Dog, bow, wow, wow. Yippee-yo, yippee-yay. Make sure you don't screw the pooch. That was pretty much a good segue. Don't you screw the pooch. Don't screw the pooch. Who's screwed the pooch? Don't you get out there and misbehave and be a bad boy. You gotta teach you this stuff. This is going to be taught to you. And also, whenever you're bowing and you're curtsying, make sure you frothy spittle, drool. Make sure you, oh, Mister, oh, thank you so much. You gave me this opportunity. I'll never, You see, that's how you need to behave. Okay. Peer pressure, that's where they teach you peer pressure. You got to cave into peer pressure. And what's peer pressure? Let's go to college. No. Let's go get a blue collar job. No, let's go and party. And what are you going to do? You got to avoid humiliation. You got to make sure you conduct yourself accordingly. You got to understand social cues. All right, that's it for number 2. Let me see if there's anything wrong with this camera. Probably isn't. I don't even know it. So, put you on hold. Nope, we're still good. Oh, you can't hear me? I'm doing this on purpose. I'm acting like the phone's not working. Because whenever I talked, I should have had the phone next to my ear. But the doggy daycare, you see that bone? Go for your bone. I hope this is catching. And work release doggy daycare. You know what a work release program is, right? Once you're born, you're already a prisoner to debt. And only way to pay it off, is to get your ass on the plow, get out there in the sun, and labor the hell out of what your employer tells you to labor. Like I told you about the etiquette, you got to conduct yourself accordingly, right? Look how professional I look. Look at my hairstyle. And look, I shaved today and I make sure I look the part. Look at this watch. Ooh, see, that's etiquette, right? You can't get out there and mother, you can't, you can't do none of this, you've got to be prim, proper, and you've got to impress, dress to impress. If you don't dress to impress, then if you don't impress anybody, then nobody's going to care about you, right? If you don't impress them, then what's going to happen? Let's see. And when you go to work on your doggy daycare, make sure you work on your knees, alright? Your hind leg, knees, make sure you work on those. We all know what working on your knees means. Don't you walk on your feet. Your knees, your flaccid knees need to be walked on. Grovel. At least I have a job in this economy. At least I work. At least? What's the most you could be doing? What's better than what you're doing? And that's the good thing about mentioning these three things. Your career. Doggy day career.